So on the 4th down here, they'll spread out a little bit, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. Spears is going to roll to his left, and he's looking for Verano, and he's got Verano, who touches the toes. The question is, does he have the first?
Yes, he does,
and
Jim.
He does.
Yes,
That's
he
a
does.
great job of field awareness by the senior 14 Verano.
And I got to give a lot of credit to Shimko. Shimko, number 77, at that left tackle spot, holding his block there and letting Spears get out there to kind of roll out enough to get to that play.
And if you're just joining us here, you picked a great time to do it. 10:15 left in the second quarter. The Red Tornadoes trail 7-0, but are threatening. Diaz down to about the 1 before he stopped there. Again, it's been exciting. The Spartans had an electric drive to open the night, but the Red Tornadoes turned them away on 4th down. The Red Tornadoes drove back down the field before being turned over themselves on downs. And the Spartans, after a long pitch and catch from Trevor Manal to Joey Flail, had the first score of the night on a Nikolai Caraballo 1-yard plunge. But the Red Tornadoes, 2nd and goal from the 2 with Spears, are going to be in themselves. So at 9:33, it's 7-6 with the extra point pending.
Yeah, Jim, that's a really good job there by Spears, and it's a really good setup there by Coach Dara. You have Diaz in on the 3rd and 4th down plays, the speedster. You have him in there. The 1st down play, you have Diaz in there. Give him a chance to get that 6. On the 2nd down play, you bring in Blessing. So you think, okay, the big bruiser, we're going to give him the ball, and then you have Blessing lead Spears on the play instead of handing it to him.
Jagodinski's first extra point is good. So great news there for the Red Tornadoes as they knot this at 7.
Yeah, that's a really good job there by the Big Red. And that was a long drive. That was a long, drawn-out drive well over probably 8-9 minutes, Jim, I think. And they did an awesome job just moving that ball methodically down the field. A little bit of hiccups here and there, but they did great getting into the position to put 6 points on the board and finish it.
Now, if you're watching on Wednesday night or watching some other point, you might have heard some of this already, but we'll give a quick follow-up again. So we're opening the night here, the season here at Gauche Orthodontic Field, Spartan Stadium in Ashland. The Spartans are coming off another season in which they won the District 11 Class 3A championship. That's 2 in a row for them. The Red Tornadoes coming off their 3rd 10-win season in 4 years for their side. Both teams have lost their signal callers from last season and other offensive contributors.
Yes.
So we got junior signal callers and Spears and Minalda, as well as other specialty positions. And that's going to be fair caught by number 1, Luke Miller.
I like the decision there, Jim, honestly. I mean, you're still starting ahead of where you would be if there was a touchback or something like that. That ball is high.
It was high.
That was high. That was a punt height kickoff. And you'd rather be safe with it, secure the ball, the catch, not have to worry about getting hit as soon as you grab that ball. So it's probably a good decision there by Miller, putting the Spartans, right around the 21-yard line to start this drive off.
And I remember when we talked to Coach Dara this week, we were talking about Jagodinski, and I commented on the punt I saw him make at the scrimmage and how terrific it was.
Yes.
And Coach Dara said, yeah, usually it's even higher.
Yeah.
So after seeing that kick, I don't think he was just pulling our leg.
Definitely not.
And all the under center. He brings Stanakis in motion. They hand it to Tenari off the right side. He'll get across to 25.
It's a good play there by Maddox Reed. Kind of feeling his way through, working over top of the down blocks coming on him and making a stop there. Tenari was able to get a couple, but he had a lot of open field behind him if Reed wasn't there to make that tackle.
And that's what we talked about as well. The 2 young linebackers for the Red Tornadoes in Reed and Jagodinski. Coach Dara was thrilled kind of with their camp, their summer, how they performed in the scrimmages, and it's easy to see why early on tonight.
Yeah, and it seems like every time they take the field, they're getting a little bit more comfortable and starting to see things a little clearer.
Tanakis in motion again. This time they'll fake it to him, and it's Tenardi. And he's upended by Yagodinsky in the backfield. Great play by the linebacker.
And Jim, Yagodinsky is one of those players that seems like he's the type of guy that he's always in the defensive huddle looking over the sideline saying, "Coach, let me blitz, let me blitz, let me get in there." And you can see why. You know, he's like he shot out of a cannon getting into the backfield there and had the wherewithal, even though he was on the ground, to get a hold of an ankle and make the tackle. It was a great job.
Big third down here for the Spartans. They're deep enough in their own territory that unless they pick up at least a couple yards here, a punt's likely.
Yeah.
Rinaldo to throw, and he's going to look. It overshoots McGee, who had a step on the defense.
Yeah, Rinaldo under pressure again, Jim. Every time he drops back, it seems like that front three for the Red Tornadoes is getting a ton of pressure. And then those outside linebackers and Schultz and Lamas are doing a really good job getting after it.
Well, between those three guys, between Chicatano, Kelly, and Nestico, they had about 12 sacks last season. Countless hurries, and a lot of different ways they impact the game. So as we said before, pressure that they put on quarterbacks can ease the pressure on Mount Carmel's quarterback.
Absolutely.
Now we will see the Spartans punt here. Good rush there. It's going to be short. It's going to get a good bounce, and it's going to hit the Spartans right at the 42-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like Big Red will take that. Yeah, like you said, at the 42.
So great job there by the defense. The Red Tornadoes get the score they need on the previous drive and then force the first 3 and out of the night.
Yes, now we'll see moving forward how the Red Tornado offense responds. Now that they got the ball and they got a chance to go down there and put another 6 up on the board and take a lead with plenty of time left before the half. This is another one of those drives where you want to really grind it out, finish with points, and not give the Spartans any time to recover and score again.
2 to the left, 1 to the right. Spears to throw. He's going to look for Farinato, and he's got him. A great catch by Farinato to go up over the defender and stay in bounds.
Yeah, that was a great catch by Farinato, and there's Coach Darrah loves doing this to me. He does it to me a couple times every year where, you know, he likes to take what I say and do the exact opposite. but I love the result of the play. It's a great move, and now you're in such better field position to grind things out and get that 6 points.
All the way down to the 27-yard line, a gain of about 31, excuse me.
And stay wide open, too.
They're going to hand it off to Diaz. He's going to be in, out, up, down there across the 25. Short gain on the play.
Yeah, and that's all Diaz needs is just a little bit of space, and he does a good job working his way through and getting a couple here and there. I'd really like to see him get on the outside if the Red Tornadoes, once things are opened up, they got a little bit of a longer field to play with, get him on the outside, and you can really get to see his speed once he's in the open field.
Spears to throw, and he's got Farinato down the seam, and he takes a huge hit right at the goal line. Incomplete.
Yeah, and that was a tough one there. He was wide open down the middle. You're right. A little bit too much air on that ball. Farinato had a lot of pressure bearing down on him to make that catch, and unfortunately was not able to haul it in.
And that was number 33, Keegan Curry. Now Curry played a lot last year for the Spartans too. He had 35 tackles from his safety position to go with 2 interceptions and 3 passes defense. So he's a ball hawk, and he showed it there. For the moment, it's 3rd and 7. 6:50 to go. Spears on the draw, and the Spartans did a great job seeing it, staying home. And again, 52 long for the Spartans on the initial stop. Caraballo as well. And it'll be 4th down, and the Red Tornadoes have a decision, Dan.
Jim, I'm not sure. That looked almost like it seemed to be a busted play. Guys were still sort of getting set. And Spears did the right thing. Instead of trying to get guys late into patterns and taking a sack, He held on to it and got upfield and got almost back to the line of scrimmage there, but we're going to have to see him probably put him in the air here or get Diaz or one of the speed guys on the outside.
4th and 9 at the 26, so not really any real decision for the Red Tornadoes here. They're going to throw it to Farinato. We're going to get behind the defense. It's incomplete.
There was a lot of contact there and no flag, Jim.
Great coverage there by the Spartans. That's number 1. Luke Miller was step for step with Farinato down the field. On the big play to start the drive, Farinato was able to take the ball away from him. That time, Miller got his hand in there and swatted it away.
And that's a tough one there for the Big Red. After the big play to start the drive, like you mentioned, going 4 and out and having to give that ball back to the Spartans with a lot of time left.
This is shaping up to be a heck of a contest. We're not quite halfway through the second quarter yet.
Yes, yeah.
And we'll see Geary go in there and get some defensive reps in place of Kelly for the moment. Again, all these linemen, Kelly, Chicatano, Nestico, they all play both ways. So every now and again, you just need a minute.
Yeah.
Minalda to Tenari. And Tenari had the outside, but he was tripped up. That was by Verano. A super clean and crisp tackle.
Yeah, that was a great job there by Verano getting after that and coming from his safety position, playing up as a linebacker. These guys do a really good job. For Verano and Farinato both do a really good job of helping run support, even though they're the deepest guys on the field on defense.
Yeah, we were talking about Keegan Curry on the Spartan side and the defensive stops he made from his safety position. As far as returners go, Farinato was the leading returning tackle with 74. Now Minalda to throw, and he's under pressure immediately. Tries to step up, but a great job by the Red Tornadoes. Again, it's Nestico, Yagodinsky, and I think it'll be Chicatano that ultimately brings him to the turf.
Yeah, and it's going to be close. He almost got back to the line of scrimmage, so I'm not sure if they're going to be able to credit him with a sack. But you're right, that was definitely Nestico did a really good job getting upfield and turned Minalda in. He had nowhere to go once Chicatano got his hands on him.
Now just a few, what feels like a few seconds after the Red Tornadoes had a 4th and 11 from the 26, the Spartans now face a 3rd and 9 from the 27. And Minalda's going to throw again right up the seam, and it's through the hands of Dean. There was some zip on that one, Dan.
Yes, there was, and that was one thing that I think that's a lot to do with the pressure that the Red Tornadoes defense has been putting on Minalda. He wants to get that ball and get it out of his hands quick and into the hands of his receiver. But unfortunately, like you said, because of that zip, through the hands of Dean and now bringing up a punt situation for the Spartans.
If you're watching this at home, rewind that for a second and take a look. One of the Red Tornado linebackers, I believe, got up pretty high on that one and forced Minalda to send that one probably a little higher than he meant to. It'll be a fair catch by Verano, and the Red Tornadoes will start this drive at the 37.
And again, we'll see how the Red Tornadoes decide to attack things. The Spartans got burned on the big pass play to start the last drive, so I have a feeling they'll be sitting back, be ready for that one, because the speed of these Red Tornado receivers is unbelievable. It seems like they make one move and they're getting behind their defenders. So we'll see, I think, Spartans defense is playing a little bit more off of their the guys that they're covering.
Well, now, Dan, you mentioned last drive about, trying to milk that clock. With 4.5 left in the first half, it's not out of the question that the Red Tornadoes, pick up a couple first downs here behind that big offensive line, keep the clock moving. And it'll be the sweep to Diaz. He does a good job getting through that first level of defenders. See where forward progress is marked. Looks a little, not the most favorable forward progress mark out to the 41.
And that's a tough one too, because Diaz is fighting. He's trying to break off that tackle, but because of that extra movement, that extra little spin move, getting pushed back a yard, he kind of lost a yard there. So we're going to be at the 41 here, but in a good position, 2nd and 6 or so, and that's about where they want to be to stay on schedule. No hurry from the Red Tornadoes either.
Chicatano off the line. 2 receivers to the left, Farinato to the right. Spears goes right up the gut, but he's grabbed immediately and dropped. It was 79 Whites. It's not going to be easy to run by that man.
No, definitely not. He is a big fella.
And as far as we talked about returners, Whites leads the Spartan returners and tackles. He had 41 last campaign.
And you can see why. I mean, he clogs up 2 or 3 holes in there from the offensive side of the ball. That's a big boy, and once he gets his hands on you, you ain't going anywhere.
So now 3rd and 4 at the 43. Certainly not where the Red Tornadoes want this drive to stop. It's a low snap. Spears rolls to his left. Now he comes back to right. There's a screen set up to Chicatano. He's got white jerseys in front of him. A great play call there. Get the first down and more into Spartan territory. Down to the 41-yard line.
And Jim, this is the stuff that we don't always get to see because we don't get to see the replay initially. But I want everybody to take a look at the 2 tanks on our offensive line. The actual tank, number 75, Matt Kelly, and 71, Nick Nestico, 10 yards ahead of the play with a pancake block, and Matt Kelly making the chip block there to open things up for Chicatano. That was a great job by that offensive line all around, getting out in front. That right side of the line is tough.
Spears to throw again. He's going to go up, and he's got Verano all the way down to the 3. A great ball and a great in-air adjustment by Verano.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to do if you're Spears. You see that Verano has the step. Throw him open. The defender was right on his hip, but he had the step. Throw him open, make him adjust to the ball before the defender gets a chance to see it and adjust. And that's exactly what Spears did, and that's a great play. And now the Red Tornadoes really want to take their time and get this 6 points here.
Well, and as we just talked about the right side of that line with Chicatano, with Kelly and Nestico, the left side of the line on that side,
yep.
Geary at the guard, and watching Shimko at the tackle, because, you know, we're following the ball, you can see Spears well. Shimko hand fighting to give Spears all the time that he needed was exquisite. And it's Spears again off the right side. He's going to be very close, and they're going to turn him away. And I don't think the Red Tornadoes are going to be too upset, perhaps, about not getting in on that one.
Yeah, that was a great job there by Spears. But again, that Schuylkill defensive front is no joke. They are big, and they are hard to push out of the way. So you really got to root them out if you want to get this 1 yard. But again, like you said, they really want to watch this clock tick down.
Yeah, this drive. The half is going to end on this drive, is my guess, one way or the other. We're under a minute now, 56 and counting. We've still got 10 seconds on the play clock. So the Red Tornadoes look at it like they've got 3 plays and 40 seconds to get 2 yards. And it's going to be Blessing, and he's in. So his first score of the season will be the Red Tornadoes' second, and it's 13-7 Mount Carmel.
And that is huge for the Big Red, Jim. We talked about Blessing, the little injury the injury that he had last year, and we saw what he had in his tank. You know what I mean? We saw that he was going to be a factor for this team, either last year and in the coming years. And seeing him get his first 6 points this year, there's more to come. And that was a great drive all around. Great finish.
Agadinsky's kicked that one wide left, so it'll stay 13-7. Red Tornadoes. And yeah, Dan, you know, we talked about it before again. There are spots on this team for the Red Tornadoes, certainly, that are youthful.
Yeah.
Maybe don't have as much in-game experience. But the guys that do,
yes,
the Chicatanos, the Kellys, the Gearys, the Fernados, the Veranos, all those guys, they're showing tonight. You see, there's a lot of energy in the stadium, right? A lot. From the second we got in, they look calm.
Yes. They're very calm. You know, everybody gets hyped when they make a big play. You see Nestico driving a guy an extra 10 yards down the field and finishing his block. He's going to get up and he's going to get hyped. But you're right. For how big this moment is for a lot of these guys, that it's their first time playing in this game or playing in this atmosphere, they are that level of calm that is just keeping the rest of the team, these young guys, these guys that are just getting their feet wet. really, really bringing those guys along. And Coach Dara talked about that these guys are mature and these guys are very well suited for this position. And that's why those guys are out there as captains.
Big kick from Yagodinsky. That's going to be, that's Stanakis. They'll get across the 20. See where they mark him down. About the 29, it looks like. So there'll be 35 seconds left in the first half. Now, Spartans here, for what it's worth, have a talented kid in Menser in terms of, you know, potentially being able to attempt a field goal if they get within range. But I think you got a field goal memory in this stadium, don't you, Dan?
Yeah, I do. And the gentleman that kicked that field goal, his brother is out there playing on the field wearing the same number. A senior year, Robbie Verano, the older brother of Garrett Verano, and both sons of Coach Verano for the football team. Kicked kind of a walk-off field goal here for us to beat the Spartans in 2012.
Minalda under pressure immediately, but that's because the screen was set up, so a good design, and he's still on his feet. That's Flail out to the 46-yard line, and the Spartans will use their first, and really the first time out of the first half.
Yeah, and Jim, those middle wide receiver screens are tough ones because you don't know where the line of scrimmage is at, and those offensive line aren't allowed to get too far downfield.
Excuse me. They did not call the time at the stoppage. What I saw was because there's a face mask called on the Red Tornado, so it's about to get really interesting really quickly here as they'll add 15 to that and mark. Okay, excuse me, that'll be the 5-yard variety. So it'll get just inside the 50 to the 48.
Yeah, and then the Spartans gave them time to get right back up on the ball and ready to go.
I'm not so sure about that one. I mean, Minalda's going to throw again. That one's low, but Dean does a good job of making the reception. And now they're inside the 35.
And he got out of bounds as well. So no need for a timeout.
It'll be interesting to see how the half plays out. Coach Hall opted not to use that timeout. He did lose 4 or 5 seconds off the clock between when the ball was set back in play and when they snapped it. And all to throw again. He goes right across the middle. And again, he's got Dean now down inside the to the 15. Oh, excuse me. Inside the 15 to the 13.
And now we've got a timeout for the Spartans.
Well, we've got, so here's the deal. 8 seconds left in the half. It's 13-7 Red Tornadoes. Again, we talked about it. The Spartans can kick, but certainly that's not the goal when you get down this far.
Right.
So again, you've got 8 seconds. Dan, what do you do here if you're the Spartans?
If I'm the Spartans, it seems like this whole drive, these 3 big plays that they've had, they've been trying to get the ball out of Minalda's hands quick. You want to do the exact same thing. You've got a little bit of length on the outside. You've got some guys that have some size advantage over the Red Tornado corners. So I think you want to get Minalda the ball out of the shotgun, 1-step drop, and throw a back corner fade here and try and get it to him.
And look how far, look how far outside Flail is. He couldn't go any further.
Yeah.
Now he's on the outside.
Although that middle screen could also be in play with a setup like this as well.
So these are the Spartans we saw at Danville, right, in their scrimmage, and what we saw early on tonight, this 4-wide set with Tenari to Minalda's right. He's only looking in one direction. He's going to run, and a big stick made by Reed. We'll stop the clock with 4 seconds left on a Spartan timeout. They'll pick up a couple yards, but it's going to be down to just inside the 10, maybe the 9-yard line.
Yeah, and Jim, this is a huge moment for Minalda, especially, being the first game as the starting signal caller out there on the field. You can see on this drive, he's kind of got a little bit of happy feet, but he's still delivering. He's throwing the ball well, and that Red Tornado defense, because they're trying to keep the pass from happening, seems like they're kind of sitting back. They're not sending as much pressure after him. If I'm Coach Dara in this situation, there's 4 seconds left. You've got probably one play that the Spartans are going to be able to run. Let's see if you can send one extra guy to put a little bit of pressure on Minalda and try and force him into making a mistake. Make him beat you.
They're going to bring Menser out to kick.
Okay. With 4 seconds left here, this is, I understand there's only 1 timeout left. It's 4 seconds. You probably got 1 play in the tank. I'm not sure if this is going to be a kick or not.
Interesting, Dan. Interesting thought. 13-7 Red Tornadoes. Menser on to kick. The kick is up, and it is good. And the clock's run out here, so that's how the first half of play is going to end, with the Red Tornadoes, the visiting Red Tornadoes, on top of the home Spartans, 13-10. We're going to take a break for the half, and we will be back with stats, scores, and more second half action. Stay tuned.
The band is led on the field by drum majors Anna Towie and Kelly Locke. Flag captains are Amaya Bobrowski and Emily Britt, and rifle captain is Megan Matakaitis. This year's staff includes Bernard Steller, director; Erica Nestico, assistant director; Bernie Nestico, drum instructor; John Jacoby, assistant to the band director; Jennifer Melnick, Coast Guard instructor; Christopher Steller, music and marching instructor; Linda Hawk, assistant Coast Guard instructor; Luke Dara, music and marching instructor; Lucas, music and marching instructor; Cam Getty, music and marching instructor. We would like to thank Marissa Matakaitis, Andrew Ripper, Ryan Green, MCU School Board and Administration, and especially the MCU band parents for their continued invaluable support. The band would like to recognize the late Paul Frost Meacham, legendary MCA analogies director, who wrote the brass and woodwind arrangements on portions of our show. We invite you to sit back and enjoy the 2022 edition of the Mount Carmel Area High School Big Red Band.
Hello and welcome back to Gauche Orthodontics Field at Spartans Stadium, where the Red Tornadoes lead the Spartans 13-10 after a really exciting first half, Dan.
Yeah, very exciting first half. It was tough to really kind of get into things in the first half as much as we like to sometimes, especially with it being the first game of the year, because there was just action from start to finish. There was, very few punts. There were some big fourth down plays. There were some big plays in general. So it was hard to kind of even ease into things. We got right after it,
We did, and as it, with this being the first game of the year, of course, it's always a great broadcast we're able to put out there. Again, WKMC TV, student-run TV studio. Wherever you're watching, I want to thank the Medalis family for their sponsorship of tonight's broadcast. Hopefully you're here with us. If you are, I hope you're able to get some water or some Gatorade or something, because it's still pretty warm. We get started here, you forget it's still August.
Yeah, yeah, and even though it may be late August, it's definitely not fall football weather yet.
No.
It's still the heat of the summer here. I think we hit probably close to 90 degrees in the midday today, and like you said, 84 degrees at the start. So it's been a warm one, and we are getting right after it, Jim.
Yeah, we'll get back-to-back kicks here from Menser. Menser kicked the 25-yard field goal to end the first half and cut the deficit from 6-3 for the Spartans. And now he'll be kicking off as the Red Tornadoes won the toss to start the game and elected to defer. Big kick from Menser again. Going to send Diaz right to the 1. So he'll get a chance to return this one, and he's up there quickly. But a nice tackle made by, that's number 1, Luke Miller for the Spartans.
Jim, and that's the thing. Diaz is electric, so when he gets a chance to get up to speed, you always think if he gets one little crease that's going to go. But the Spartans did a really good job on that kickoff team, staying in their lanes and kind of filling into the ball and making a play. You see this big red offense, they'll take things and try and extend that narrow lead that they have currently.
You see again another more spread out formation than their traditional shotgun double tight. And it's that swing pass to Diaz, and Diaz is going to get as much as he can, really. Nice job there by the Spartans staying home. Does appear to be a Spartan down.
Yeah, again, this is kind of what we were hoping to see, Jim. A little bit more getting those skill guys out in space and giving them a chance to really show off their abilities and that speed that Red Tornado offense does have.
So the first half, again, we talked about, score being 13-10 here. The Spartans got the ball first and really had a big run by Jared Tenari, but that drive ended up scoreless after the Red Tornadoes turned them away on fourth down. The scoring didn't start until the Spartans' second drive, courtesy of a 1-yard plunge from the fullback, Nikolai Caraballo.
And that was after the big pass that set it up.
To Flail.
The big gain to Flail that set it up.
So the Red Tornadoes responded with a pair of 2-yard rushing touchdowns, one by Spears, the other by Blessing. PAT good on the first, a little wide on the second. And then the Spartans took the ball with about 40 seconds left inside their own 30 and drove down the field and were able to kick the 25-yard field goal. And the Spartan defender is up, and he's gingerly walking off the field, but it is under his own power, and that's 52. I believe that's Chris Long.
Yes, that is Chris Long. As you said, we talked about the heat, and I'm hoping that the only thing that is a cramp. At this point, or this early in the season, you don't want to see anybody run into any sort of serious injury. So with this heat, it could be a cramp. Hopefully we see him back on the field very shortly.
It's still sitting about 80 degrees, and I'm sure it's even warmer down on the field. So again, this wide look from the Tornadoes. It's the the swing pass is fake to Diaz, and it's the Farinato up that seam. Eerily similar to how the first drive of the game started for the Red Tornadoes with another Mount Carmel first down.
Yeah, Jim, it seemed like, thinking back to those first drives for the Spartans and for the Red Tornadoes, both teams got off to hot starts, and then one penalty for each side kind of derailed those drives initially. So hoping for a cleaner second half. There weren't very many penalties, but there were costly penalties in the first half. And you don't want to see that again.
Notice down here at the bottom of your screen, Farinado is lined up with Flail, and the Red Tornadoes will hand it to Diaz, and Diaz is going to get back to the line of scrimmage, and he should be commended for getting back that far, as he was set upon almost immediately in the backfield.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure coming from up the middle, and you're right, Jim, about that Farinado and Flail matchup there. Farinado being the premier receiver for the Big Red in the first half, along with Flail for the Spartans. Now they're man-to-man with each other. It's going to be interesting to watch, and I hope that Coach Dara, you know, you don't want to go after some of the best defenders sometimes, but it would be interesting to see that Coach Dara throw a ball out there for Farinado and see if he can go get it against Flail.
So if we look across the field, there's much more cushion being given to the Red Tornadoes receivers than Flail is giving Farinado. They're going to throw the swing pass to Diaz. Somehow he's still on his feet. The ball's on the turf, and I think Spears is going to get back on that. So the Red Tornadoes will keep possession, although it'll cost them about 4 yards.
Yeah, Jim, unfortunately for, and we do have a Red Tornado down. And it does look like Diaz. Going back to the play, unfortunately for Diaz, because he is so shifty, because he is always looking to make a big play, sometimes it gets a little loose with the ball there, and it was able to get punched out. All those jukes and spins and things like that, the ball comes a little bit loose, got punched out. But Spears having the wherewithal to get back on that is huge for the Red Tornadoes, because you do not want to give the ball away on a turnover in your own territory. But hopefully, again, you know, we talked about it. Played a little sports back in my day here and there. I think it looks like they're treating Diaz for a cramp currently. So we're hoping that that's all it is.
And again, another thing that we have going on here is, you know, you saw on that play, and again, if you're home, if you're watching this and you can rewind it, please do so, because the thing that was so clutch about Spears getting on that football is Spears was the only white jersey behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
If he didn't get on that ball, there were plenty of red jerseys ready, willing, and able to pick it up and go the other way.
Yeah, that would have been a scoop and score for a quick 6 there, but you're right. Spears did a good job getting on that one.
Get a good look at the crowd again. It looks great, right? It's a beautiful field here, and the views you're getting at home, again, certainly tonight, courtesy of the Medalis families. We want to thank them for that. Be able to bring this to you wherever you are, and whenever you're watching. And I'm always curious where people are.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure if you're watching. Drop a comment, something. Let us know kind of where you're at. I'm just curious what the reach always is.
Yeah, because we've talked about it before when this kind of was just starting to get up and running. There were people in Texas. There were people overseas, you know, sticking with their roots and staying home on a Friday night and watching these football games. So it's great to see that stuff. It's like Diaz being helped off the field here. Hopefully we see him back very quickly.
Looks like Blessing's in there. Blessing in there for replacing Diaz at the moment. But again, we talked about this, and you know, as is often the case, the skill players, they have the ball, we follow the ball, we talk about the ball.
Yes.
Right. But again, on both sides tonight, these teams, the Spartans and the Red Tornadoes, are teams that are led and really bolstered by the big guys up front.
Yeah, that's offensive and defensive lines, and they have been. That has been a battle in itself. If you are able to, you know, again, at home, you're watching this, you can rewind, you can replay it, and I like to do it when I'm at home. You know, we follow the ball when we're up here. When I get home, I like to go back and watch and see who the linemen are and what they're doing. It's always good to watch that, and really, you really see how technically good these kids are.
We're going to throw it to the other side to Verano. He'll get across the 40. He'll get back, you know, past the original line of scrimmage. But it looks like For the first time, the Red Tornadoes are going to have to punt tonight, Dan.
Yeah, and unfortunately that little negative play there kind of set them back behind the sticks, and they weren't able to get a big play to get back after it. So you're right, we are going to see Jagodinsky for the first time punting. And it looks like Flail giving Jagodinsky a lot of credit here. He must know something that the Red Tornadoes probably know as well, that Jagodinsky's got a leg on him.
It's a good snap. It's a big rush. And it's almost, I don't know if I'll say it's blocked.
Looked like somebody got Jagodinsky's leg.
Certainly impacted, yeah. Now, to Jagodinsky's credit, he's still able to get enough on it that it's going to get to midfield, so it's not a huge punt, but could have been much worse if Jagodinsky didn't get the ball out as quick as he did.
Yeah, and that's a tough one for the Big Red, and that's a momentum shifter. Special teams and turnovers are most of the time the things that really decide a football game. So big special teams play there for the Spartans. Now we need the Big Red defense to stand up here.
8:51 left in the third quarter. The Spartans will start their first drive of the second half at midfield, and it's intercepted. That's Al Bailey. What a great play, dropping into coverage. And just like that, the Red Tornadoes are back on offense in Spartan territory at the 49.
And again, Jim, I said special teams and turnovers. And we get a big special teams play from the Spartans and a huge turnover there for the Big Red to give that offense the ball right back.
What a great play by Bailey. And Dan, that goes back to, we talked about it before, those Red Tornado linebackers were making it difficult on Minalda by getting vertical when he tries to throw those lasers in there.
Yep, and that was it. He was trying to zip a ball in to get it out quick, and he didn't see Bailey lurking in the shadows there, and he came up out of nowhere and got up to get that ball.
Bailey, 5'11", 205, and hands soft as butter on that one. This time it's Farinato down to the 46.
Jim, it looks like, and I know these misdirection plays and these reverses and stuff, they get a little bit into the backfield, but it looks like Farinato and Verano, when they're getting these plays, they're getting so much more than they really are, because they're 2-3 yards in the backfield, and they work their way upfield, and they do a really good job of kind of fighting through the traffic, but it turns into, you know, a 3-4 yard gain when it looks like it should be 7 or 8. But a lot of that is credit to that big North Schuylkill defensive line getting a push.
Sure. It's Blessing off the left side, and he's tough running inside the 40. Be close to that first down marker, maybe a yard or two shy.
Yeah, and this is where they want to be. Again, staying on schedule. This is where the Big Red want to be now in a 3rd and 1 rather than a 3rd and 12, 13. Because this is what their offense is suited to do. You see a quick snap to the up back Widener here.
Just look at that Red Tornado offense. I mean, I don't know how many times we could say it, but those fellas up front, man, you can't ask for much more than to be running behind a line like that.
No, absolutely not. These backs are talented, but they are spoiled.
Blessing again, first down, Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, it looked like Blessing got chipped there way in the backfield, but did a good job of kind of keeping his balance and stretching that ball forward to get that first down.
We talk about it, obviously, you know, Matt Tank Kelly, the biggest of the bunch down there at 6'4", 3 1/4, but not far behind him, at least, you know, and technically taller.
Noah Shimko.
Is Noah Shimko, right, the sophomore, at 6'5", 290. So I don't know you'll find a much bigger line than the Red Tornadoes across the board.
Definitely not.
They'll shift from right to left. It's going to be Blessing off the left side. They'll get down near the 35-yard line.
And Jim, Blessing is running very tough. He gets to the you know, kind of the point of contact and puts that shoulder down and is delivering a blow rather than taking one when he meets contact.
Now I'm looking here, see exactly who. There's a Red Tornado down on the far sideline. And at times like these, when it's on the far sideline, we can't really see. A lot of times you just try to do process of elimination. Who don't you see? And I think based on that, it's going to be Widener.
No, Widener's there on the I think, Jim, I think it might be Chicatano. He might be Chicatano.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm seeing everybody else kind of working their way back here. And again, hopefully it's just a cramp. But
6.5 left in the third quarter. It's 13-10 Red Tornadoes. They have the football and are driving. When we get back to play here, it's going to be 2nd and 1 from the Spartan 27. Chicatano up off under his own power here. But again, Dan, like we talked about, the Red Tornadoes, the last few plays on this drive since the interception have gone tight.
Yeah.
They've gone back to what we've seen from them in Coach Darrah's pretty much his entire tenure here at Mount Carmel.
Yeah, you always, when the going gets tough, you go back to what you are comfortable with. You know what I mean? They open things up, try to change the pace a little bit, get stopped. Bring back tight, you're putting together a nice little drive. Plus a little momentum on your side too definitely helps with the big interception from Al Bailey.
It looks like that's going to be Bradley in there that spells Chicatano for the time being. He's the tight end on the left, Schultz is on the right. It's Widener and Verano in the slot to the left. It's a handoff to Blessing in that direction. Pick up the first down and keep those chains moving for the Red Tornadoes.
And Jim, we get to see Blessing more of a workhorse right now with Diaz sidelined, a little banged up, and it looks like he's answering the call. You know what I mean? He's not turning to the sideline looking for a break. He's not trying to get somebody in there to spell him. He wants as I say that, I think Coach Darrah sees all the work that Blessing's been doing and decides Jacob Zarski, number 18, in there to give Blessing a little bit of a break. But he's not the kind of kid that's going to ask for one.
And again, Zarski's another guy that saw time running the football last season. It's really, as we've said before, for the Red Tornadoes, it's somewhat of an embarrassment of riches in the backfield. Spears will keep this one himself. You get to the point of attack and not much further. Looks like it'll be maybe inside the 20 by a couple blades of grass. 2nd and 7.
Yeah, back into the red zone here for the Big Red. This is where you want to be offensively, and it is a precarious position for that Spartan defense to be in. But this is exactly what the Red Tornadoes needed off of the, the 3 and out to start the second half. Then you get the big interception. You want to take that momentum and run with it, and they've seemed to have been doing that thus far.
So Zarski off the right side. He's going to see what he can do and just put his head down and get upfield. Give him a yard, it'll be 3rd and 6.
Yeah, he did a good job there. Just like you said, it seemed kind of stopped up there. Did a good job putting his foot in the ground and getting upfield rather than trying to fight outside and possibly losing yards.
Blessing will head back in. And again, at this point, this is certainly 4-down territory for the Red Tornadoes. So you're looking, Dan, as you called out in the first half, you got 2 plays to get 6.5 yards.
Yeah, I think you can play it conservative on 3rd down.
It'll be Blessing. He's going to be stopped up by Flail and Tenari. Nice job there by the Spartans. It's going to bring up 4th and about 4.
Yeah, so short gain there, but again, in a 4th down position that is fairly manageable at this point.
And we'll wait to see.
But with Widener coming to the sidelines, I think we're going to open things up then on 4th down.
Coach Darrah's going to have a chance to think about it here as there's a Spartan down. That's Dean. Did everything he could to stay upright, but at the end of the day, found himself on the turf. So he'll be all right. He'll get stretched out here. And again, 3:43 left in the third quarter. 13-10 Red Tornadoes here at Goshen Orthodontics Field, Spartan Stadium. Tonight's broadcast brought to you courtesy of the Medalis family. And we talked about it at the outset, Dan. We talked the game. We talked about it at the outset of the second half. The heat's starting to show itself tonight.
It absolutely is. And this is usually when it starts to get you. You have that break at halftime where you're sitting down, and if you're not pumping fluids and hydrating, you come back out. You want to get back up to full speed right away after sitting for 15 minutes. It's tough to do that, and that's when this really starts to break in. But again, thanking the Medalis family makes me think family, and I wanted to give a shout out to at home my family allowing me to come and do this. We just had a baby last week. I'd like to give a shout out to my fiance Heather and my son and stepson at home, Wyatt and Hunter. So if you guys are still listening, see you guys soon.
4th down, here we go. Spears rolls to the left, and he's got Verano. 1st down, Red Tornadoes. Again, I can't stress it enough. Verano knowing where those sticks are, getting just past them, and turning, making his break on his route it's such a high intelligence play.
And not just knowing where the sticks are, but that little bit of separation he's able to create on that quick comebacker route, and Spears putting the ball in a perfect placement for him to just go down and cradle that ball and not have to worry about any hands getting in there to deflect it.
So now the Red Tornadoes have a 1st and goal from the 10. It's Blessing. It'll be upended by, that's 24 on that one. That's Xander McElhenney. First time we've said his name tonight.
Yeah, that's a big play there by McElhenney. It has not been easy to stop Blessing, especially early on.
There'll be a loss of a yard there. Red Tornado sideline, not particularly happy with that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It seemed like there was a little bit of action still going on after the whistle, and that may have been the problem. But when you're used to Blessing carrying the ball and carrying 3, 4, 5 yards, these guys are going to block later and later and later because they think that play is continuing.
Blessing again, and they try to hand it off. On the reverse, there was a mix-up there, and now there's a struggle at the bottom. Fortunately, the Red Tornadoes will keep possession of the football.
And that, Jim, is unfortunately, that's one of those timing plays where if one guy gets knocked off of their assignment, one guy gets knocked back on the offensive line, anything like that, that turns into disaster on those reverse plays. But again, the Red Tornadoes fortunate just to be able to retain that ball. Now well outside the 10 here, but still, 3rd and goal. Just being able to hang on to that football, you get 2 more shots at it here, so that's good news for the Big Red.
Red Tornadoes are going to go to right. It's Farinato and Verano. One to the left. Spears is looking for his man. It's over the shoulder, and he's got Schultz. It's incomplete.
And Schultz, I think, is going to be down with a cramp out there as well. But you're right, that was a great ball in a great location. But unfortunately, the North Schuylkill defender, Colin McGee, there doing a very good job of using the sideline as a defender as well. So we try and get Schultz tended to here, and this gives, again, Coach Dara some extra time to, kind of devise a 4th down play here in a sort of a pivotal moment with this 3rd quarter winding down, only a 3-point lead.
And as we've got a minute here, because again, once Schultz gets up, it's going to be a heck of a walk to get. He's about as far away from us as he could be.
Yeah.
We did get an update from elsewhere in the area. It was somewhat of a surprising one, I'd say.
Yeah.
I know I think we're waiting to kind of see maybe where
we
are
are at
right now.
But the update that I did receive was halftime, Southern Columbia down 14-0. And that is at Berwick, correct. And that's a big one. Obviously, everybody knows the 10 win seasons that we've had as Red Tornadoes over the past few years that have all ended at Southern Columbia in the district championship games. So always want to follow Southern Columbia and see where they are in the standings and how they fare in their games. If I could get my score stream to load here, I can give you a more accurate update. But as of right now, that's the only update that I have.
Schultz will make his way across the field. You talked about it again. Last year, for instance, Red Tornadoes go 10-3. Two of the losses came in the hands of the team you just mentioned. The other one, the Spartans, right here. So the Red Tornadoes certainly, I'm hoping to get this season off on the right foot. 13-10, they lead 1:16 left in the third quarter. It's 4th and goal from the 13. Here we go. Spears drops back, and he's looking. There's all kinds of hands all over Verano, and I think he caught the football. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
Verano was almost tackled in the end zone, and he brings the football down nonetheless. What a tremendous reception, and it's 19-10 Red Tornadoes.
And Jim, that is a pure concentration and effort play. That ball was deflected. It was up in the air. There were all sorts of factors and variables that went into that play, with Verano coming down with it at the end.
And now, as you would expect, it looks like the Red Tornadoes are going to go for 2 to get this from 9 back to 11.
Yeah, that's understandable. Make this a 2-score. You don't want to give Menser a chance to win it with a field goal at the end if the Spartans are able to put 6 on the board. And maybe a change of heart here. Maybe 10's okay for Coach 10.
10 or, you know, there's a difference between 9 and 10 and 10 and 11. And it's really you just decide which one you feel more confident on.
Yeah, I agree.
Jagodinski's kick is up, and that one is wide left. So it'll stay 19-10. But again, Red Tornadoes on top here with 1:10 left in the third quarter on opening night of the 2022 season.
Yeah, this is, again, 1:10. It's 13 minutes and 10 seconds left for the Spartans to get 2 scores. 2 scores, with having to give the ball back to this Red Tornado offense that has just been grinding out drives. That drive took the majority of this third quarter from start to finish, starting with the humongous turnover by Al Bailey, with the huge interception there to spark this whole drive. That went maybe a total of 50 yards, but ate up a ton of clock.
Ate up a ton of game clock and also a ton of real clock.
Yeah.
with the cramps experienced by players on both sides. We had an inordinate number of delays there, but
yes, we did.
So we'll get Jagodinski out there to kick off for the Red Tornadoes. Again, he's going to be kicking a Flail and Stanakis. That is back deep for the Spartans.
It looks like the Spartans are deciding how to set up return-wise based on the way Jagodinski is positioning the ball.
That is a good kick by Jagodinski. It's going to be taken by Flail at the 15. Going to try to get off that right side. Be a good stick made by Farinato, but a good return by Flail nonetheless, out to about right at the 40. They're going to mark it.
Yeah, you're right. It was a good return by Flail, and that was something that I know the Red Tornadoes were very worried about, was the speed of these skill guys, the Spartans, and they did a really good job of hemming him in and having somebody on the sideline, not letting him get up the sideline, but just being able to kind of get to the corner, was able to get Flail a good little return there and put the Spartans in a pretty good position to start this drive.
So we got a stop and play here.
I think this might be a official timeout for water, Jim. I think sometimes the officials, they notice how much the cramping is going on and how things are happening, because I don't see an injured player down anywhere, but sometimes they take the initiative themselves to do it, just make an official stoppage for players to get some water. Actually, I think I'm wrong, Jim, because I do see a Spartan down on the very far sideline, on the Spartan sideline.
Try to see who that might be.
It's a tough one, because again, this is as far as away as possible as it can be.
So I think they're going to get, I think that might be Flail, and it looks like they're able to get him far enough away from the sideline that we may be able to get started here.
Okay. Yeah, and I think we are going to get it started.
I'm kind of scooching over there. But with Flail on the sideline, the Spartans go tight. Perhaps they don't.
Yeah,
I thought Stanakis was going to stop a lot sooner than he did.
Yeah, they are going with their double tight set here with just two wide receivers. But I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Tenari here in the second half, Jim, because that is. See Carabello heading out on the field here. But I could imagine seeing a heavy dose of Tenari because he had a lot of success in the first half, and they kind of got away from him late in the second half and here to start or late in the first half and here to start the second half.
For the Red Tornadoes, it's worth mentioning, we didn't cover it. Chicatano back in there on the defensive side. And this is going to be Minalda, and he's going to be met by Yagodinsky in the hole right at the line of scrimmage for no gain.
And that's a great job. Great job by Yagodinsky, just making that read there. And you know, we talked about Chicatano being back in there. We see Chase Belichick in there in the defensive backfield. I believe that's to spell Diaz, who has not returned to the field just yet.
He's been moving around pretty good.
Yeah, I can imagine we're going to see him out there before long.
Stanakis comes in motion, going to fake the handoff to Minalda, keeps it himself, but the Red Tornadoes stay home, and that's Chicatano.
Yeah, it looked like Chicatano and Noah Shimko in there on the defensive line there. Looks like he might be giving Matt Kelly a break. Did a really good job stopping that up.
And that's going to be the end of the third quarter here, so for as much as we talked about that one dragging out a little bit, the last couple minutes certainly zoomed by.
Yes, they did.
After three, it's 19-10 Red Tornadoes seeking their first victory against the Spartans in the better part of a decade.
Yeah, Jim, the last time that we were here at North Schuylkill, the Red Tornadoes took a lead into halftime, and the Spartans went into the locker room and made some major adjustments. They went from having things opened up, they came back out, went I formation, pro sets, and kind of just pounded the rock, and were able to break some big plays and came back and unfortunately beat the Red Tornadoes. But looking at the adjustments and stuff that the Big Red have made in the second half, along with the Spartans, it seems like the Tornadoes were ready for any sort of adjustments that would have been made. And the Spartans trying to run Minalda a little bit more now. It doesn't seem to be proving too fruitful, but now on a 3rd and long, I think we're going to see, it looks like they're going to open things up. The Spartans are. They're going to test those defensive backs. Keep an eye on Dean.
Dean in the slot to the right, and he comes across the middle, and that's exactly where Minalda's going. But a great play made by Belichick there, ensuring that he can't turn up field.
Yes, and that was a Belichick to Belichick connection there. Chase Belichick was over top of Dean, and when Dean cut inside, the linebackers fed them through to Matt Belichick, playing, I think, an outside linebacker spot, and did a really, really good job of making that tackle in open field, because Dean's not an easy guy to bring down.
So now the Spartans on to punt, and Red Tornadoes don't know that they totally buy it. They keep the they keep the defense out there. Now they finally send Verano and Farinato back deep. It's a good snap to Menser. And he gets off a low line drive, and Verano's going to do the smart thing, get away from it. But that ball's going to take a hard left out of bounds at the 30. So it'll be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes from there with 11:20 left in the 4th quarter and a 9-point lead.
Jim, that one thing that that punt shows me is that Coach Wally Hall has a lot of faith in his defense. He thinks that they are going to be able to stand up and get a stop or force a turnover here against that Big Red offense that has kind of been clicking on all cylinders up to this point. They've been just grinding things out. So it shows a lot of confidence from Coach Hall, sending his defense back out there and hoping that they get a stop.
Blessing will join Spears in the backfield for the Red Tornadoes. And it'll be Blessing to the left. And he's still on his feet. Now he's in the open field. He's across midfield. He's being chased. The only guy that can catch him is Halford. and he's going to go up high, and what a run by Blessing inside the 5.
Wow.
To the 5, excuse me. My goodness.
Wow, Jim, that was, Blessing looked like he would have been stopped up at the line of scrimmage there. He shed off 3 or 4 tackles and then turned on the afterburners there and made a huge, huge run to set the Big Red up for another 6 points.
My goodness. That's where they'll mark the ball is at the 5-yard line. That's going to be a 65-yard run by Blessing. And you're right, Dan, in all seriousness, he had no business getting more than 3 or 4 yards on that.
No, no business whatsoever. And I think after that run, he gets a little bit of a break here. We're going to see Zarsky in there at the tailback spot to give Blessing a little bit of a break.
And it's Spears. Spears is going to get down to the goal line and turned back.
Very, very close to getting in there. There was a big hole there, and he got hit by that second level and drove him backwards. But that was a great, great run there by Spears to get very close to putting another 6 points on the board.
Schuylkill to the sideline. Bradley back in. Zarsky will stay in with Spears. Farinato and Widener in the backfield. And again, the Red Tornadoes in not.
Not sure what. I think, are we getting a delay here, Jim? Are we going to get a lightning delay here?
We're under. I did hear the word delay.
Yes.
From the PA announcer, and we did. Again, now we're talking 25 miles away. We did find out that Southern and Berwick are in a rain delay.
Yes.
We have no rain here, but I do believe it's a lightning delay, and both teams now are heading back to the locker room. Well, this is an interesting turn of events.
Yeah, and that prolonged third quarter with the injuries and such is going to be an even longer fourth quarter here, as the Red Tornadoes are threatening to put another 6 on the board, and we go into a delay.
Well, and it's not the best timing if you're the Red Tornadoes.
It is not, and,
right?
and I think that is why our Red Tornado offense was upset exiting the field, because they had seized all of the momentum.
Again, it was going to be 2nd and goal from the 3. The Red Tornadoes are up 9. A touchdown and no extra point would make it 15.
Right.
Right. So right there, you're at 2 touchdowns plus
a 2-point, at
right.
least 1 2-point conversion.
Even a field goal at that point would make it 12, which at least gets you out of a score and a field goal.
Right.
So very, very unfortunate. And I feel like over the years, Dan, we haven't been doing this that long. I've had quite a few of these experiences where there's some prolonged delay.
Yes, yes. So we will see. I believe, I'm not sure if it's 15 or 30 minutes per lightning strike that's seen, but we will figure that out in the interim.
Yeah, I think here's the deal. We enjoy this, right? This is always a good time.
Yes.
Whether it's 15 or 30 minutes, it's a good bit of a stretch to riff here.
Yeah.
So again, we're here at Goesworth and Onyx Field at Spartans Stadium. It's 19-10 Red Tornadoes. They're leading the Spartans. We've got 10:09 left in the fourth quarter, and we're in a lightning delay. So again, tonight's game sponsored by the Medalis family. We want to thank them for that. But I think it's probably in everybody's best interest here if we kick this to a break for a few minutes, try to figure out exactly what's going on, and then we'll get back after that to kind of restart and finish this one out.
Let's do it, Jim.
All right, we'll be back in 15 or 30, depending on the lightning. Hey, we're back here at Goshen Orthodontics Field at Spartan Stadium. We just came out of the lightning delay, and the Red Tornadoes on the first play punched it in, a Spears run from 3 yards out. So with 9:57 left in this one, it's 25-10 Mount Carmel, and they will go for 2. Hard count by Spears. The Spartans don't bite. And this time it's Spears off the right side.
It's going to be close.
And he did not get in, so it's going to stay 25-10 Red Tornadoes.
The 15-point game, Jim, makes this obviously the largest lead that the Red Tornadoes have had this game, and a maybe not insurmountable, but a very difficult road to hoe for the Spartans if they want to make a comeback here.
Well, I think the big thing was they got it to 2 possessions.
Yes.
Right, that's 2 possessions, including an extra point and a 2-point conversion.
Yes.
So there's a lot of work to do for the Spartans for sure. But again, as we had that long delay, just a quick reminder of how we got here. The Spartans struck first. Spartans struck first. Nikolai Caraballo, scored from a yard out. Fullback plunge to make it 7-0. Then the Red Tornadoes responded. Spears and Blessing with a pair of 2-yard touchdown runs to make it 13-7.
Yep.
Right at the half as time expired. Mensler from the Spartans kicked a 25-yard field goal to bring it to 13-10. And the Red Tornadoes have been the only team in the end zone in the second half. Spears had a 13-yard touchdown pass to Verano on a brilliant catch by the senior receiver. And then the Spears plunge there. This Jagodinski kick will be taken by Flail. And he's going to be stuck by Zarski at about the 26-yard line.
Yeah, that looked like a combination there. Belichick got him down low, and Zarski put a hit on Flail. And that was a great job there in coverage because Flail was able to kind of get in the open on the last kick return and put the Spartans in very good starting field position. So they're well behind where they were on their last start to their drive. But again, I think we're going to see the Spartans open up, and they're going to have to start putting the ball in the air more to try and get rid of this deficit.
We've got 2 receivers to the right. Minaldi in the shotgun. Tenari to his left, and he's going to throw. He goes straight back. He's going to go across. Well, it's batted down at the line. That's Nestico. Big play there by big number 71.
Yeah, and that kid is he's not only a big man on the field, but he's big in the locker room too. He is a very vocal leader on this team, and he does a great job kind of rallying these guys. He was one of the ones pumping everybody up, coming back out from this break.
Minalda to Dean in the flat for a North Schuylkill first down. Will be upended by Verano.
Yeah, and the Spartans seem to be kind of taking advantage of this safety play that the Red Tornadoes have with a little bit, giving them a little bit of space. They're doing these quick out routes.
And again, it's going to be almost a rocket screen, and all the airmailed that one. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and he had a lot of pressure on him from Jagodinski in the backfield there. But Jim, you just pointed it out as we saw him re-enter the field. Xavier Diaz back out there at his corner position. Happy to see him get back after his injury early on in this game.
And if you didn't catch us in the first half, wouldn't know Diaz was out with what seemed to be a cramp. This one's going to be Minaldi. He keeps himself off the right side, and Farinata will give him a good stick out of bounds. But if you weren't here prior to the rain delay, you also wouldn't know tonight's broadcast is sponsored by the Medalis family. We'll make sure, once again, we thank them for their contributions and support. And again, if you're interested in how you can support, give a phone call, 570-339-1500. Right through the hands of Dean, a little bit high for him, but it's going to bring up 4th and 2 for the Spartans with the ball resting just on their side of midfield.
That was really good coverage there as well by Maddox Reed, playing in his inside linebacker spot, dropping to his hook curl zone and getting a hand up, kind of distracted Dean, and Dean wasn't able to haul it in.
So for the Red Tornadoes, that defensive front, talked about Shimko out there. We've got Nestico, Geary, and as the Red Tornadoes have tried to give different players breaks tonight, again, you see Al Bailey in at that left defensive end slot where we often see Chicatano. Minaldo rolls out under pressure immediately from Shimko, and down he goes, and the Red Tornadoes are going to take over 1st and 10 at the 39-yard line.
And Jim, you can feel the air kind of taken out of the Spartans there. The wind is now out of their sails, and the Red Tornadoes kind of smelling blood in the water. They sent a lot of pressure there at Minalda, and Shimko, the big young lineman, getting in there and swallowing him up.
And Diaz staying in on offense, which is a welcome sight for Red Tornadoes.
Yes, that is absolutely good to see. And now I think with this 15-point lead, a little bit of comfort, now is the time to just kind of grind things out. If you break a big run, that's even better. But you want to grind things out. You want to eat some clock, and you don't want to give the ball back to the Spartans.
Spears will flip the formation. That's Diaz. Give him maybe 3, 2nd and 7.
And it's good, again, to see, you know, we saw Diaz a little hobbled there, but it's good to see him not only just getting the ball back, but being able to take contact, and he's up, he's moving around, he looks like he's back to full strength. Doing a little stretching out there, but just trying to keep himself limbered up, I think, to avoid any sort of other cramping issues.
As you pointed out, Dan, no real rush from the Red Tornadoes here to get up to the line. Content to use as much of that clock as possible. Diaz is going to try to get the corner and loses his footing there. There's a flag in the Red Tornado backfield.
Yeah, that's the area of holding, unfortunately. So this would push the Big Red backwards. We didn't get the official call, but they are going to walk this back.
Take him somewhat behind the sticks all the way back to the, where are they going to put it, at the 48. So still in Spartan territory, just barely, but again, the Red Tornadoes on top, 25-10 here, 8:13 left in the 4th quarter.
And now they're going to wind the clock, and you see, again, the Red Tornadoes in no hurry. They're going to all get the call from the sideline, take their time getting up on that ball. They weren't rushing during the break there, during the penalty call to get up on the line. They're going to milk this clock as much as they can.
Spears will keep it himself, does a nice job. In about 6. It's going to be 3rd and 12, maybe 13.
And it looks like Spears, unfortunately, staying down on the play. Possibly another victim to the cramping epidemic that we're dealing with currently with this heat here in late August.
And as you said before, Dan, you were talking about next man up with some of these cramps and whatnot, and you see, we talked about him defensively, but number 2, Matthew Belichick, for all intents and purposes, our backup quarterback here, he's out on the field, sitting with the team, get himself situated, and we saw Belichick a good bit last year, and he was always pretty impressive. 23 carries, 67 yards, and a score from that quarterback position.
Yep. And what do they say about the kicker and the replacements? He's wiry, wiry. That's what Belichick reminds me of. Both of the Belichicks, because we saw them a lot on the kickoff team.
Yeah.
Getting down there, and the punt team, always making special teams tackles and getting their nose in there, finding a way. They seem wiry, and I'm interested to see how this is going to go here on 3rd and long with the replacement quarterback in there.
So again, and with Diaz having come to the sideline on the previous play, Blessings out there will likely ride sidecar in the shotgun with Belichick.
Blessing's been the workhorse, Jim, so I could see them going maybe to Farinado here. A little inside trap play.
A lot of motion on that one. Also, while we're waiting for a call, that was one of the strangest things I think you've ever said. Blessing the workhorse, they're going to go with Farinado.
Yeah, I mean, it got to change the pace a little bit. Got to switch things up.
And the movement there was on the Spartans. Again, perhaps maybe a different inflection in the cadence of Belichick.
Yeah.
But again, you take 5 yards anytime you can get them. So now it's 3rd and 8.
For sure. That's definitely get it into a more manageable situation here, and that's probably going to change the play call as well.
It'll be Blessing. He's going to try to get outside, but there's nowhere to go. So that's 24. Xander McElhenney for the Spartans on the tackle. Nice play there for a 2-yard loss, and it's going to be 4th and 10 Mount Carmel, and it looks like they're going to punt.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. We're going to see how Yagodinsky does here with a short field. Let's see, maybe a little coffin corner type of kick from Yagodinsky.
Well, and again, we talked about it. It's a 2-score game, 2-touchdown plus some combination of a 2-point conversion and an extra point, and the clock's ticking down. It'll be, let's see here, it'll be right around 6 minutes if they bleed it all the way out to snap it. And they'll wait.
Now remember, Jim, the Spartans did get a hand on the last punt that Yagodinsky tried to get away.
Now we got a false start against the Red Tornado, so that's going to back them up 5 yards. And now it looks like Belichick is down.
Yeah, and unfortunately with Belichick down, it's probably not a bad thing getting that 5-yard false start penalty, giving Yagodinsky a little bit more room to work with before he tries to pin the Spartans deep and have them working with a long field.
And while we've got a minute here as they deal with kind of all the fun things going on the field, again, we talked about the Medalis family tonight, but we certainly have some other sponsors week in and week out that we want to recognize. Academy Sports Center in Mount Carmel. I actually got a new hat. I was up at the Academy the other day, got a brand new hat. Cinnamon Sticks Coffee and Gift Shop. I think they're fairly new to the sponsorship game, but I hear they're the best acai bowl you can get in town. So keep an eye up there. Family Home Medical, of course, always long time supporter. Hollywood Pizza and Bakery. Soupy and hot cheese, thank you, please.
Yeah.
The Mount Carmel Farmers Market, Star Physical Therapy. Again, Tom's getting his workout tonight. UNB Bank for Anno Insurance. And we can talk about the Mount Carmel Education Foundation after the punt here. It's a good snap and a good hold, and it's a high kick, but it is short. We'll see if he gets a bounce. Unfortunately, it's going to bounce left rather than towards the end zone for Yagodinsky, so it'll be down at the 29-yard line. Spartans will take over there with 5:50 left in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and that's a tough one there for Yagodinsky. But again, Spartans starting in their own territory with a long road in front of them to make a comeback here and not a whole lot of time. Now they can score quickly, and if they do, that makes things very interesting. So the Red Tornadoes are going to be looking to prevent any sort of big play from happening, make them earn every yard that they get.
And 4 wide from the Spartans. Ronaldo drops back. He's going to pump fake. It's a pump and go. He's under pressure. He's rolling. He's got no room, and he's going to throw it away. So great job there by the coverage.
Yeah, that's a very good job in coverage there, and a great job in the rush as well. Yagodinsky did a good job. It looked like he was on maybe sitting in an underneath zone, and none of the routes were underneath. So he played the containment man and did a really good job.
Just over the outstretched hand of Schultz, but falls incomplete nonetheless. Pass was intended for McGee. And you saw it down on that play before, and now we may have another one. The Red Tornadoes had Spears come off the field, and he was replaced by Belichick. And now I'm keeping an eye on Diaz on the far sideline, and he's going to make his way out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we got another, looks like another cramping issue there with Diaz. And it looks like number 17, Orville Fesniak, heading out onto the field.
Yeah, and I should correct myself. I said Belichick, Chase Belichick.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the defensive backfield. So again, we've got 5:37 left here at Gauche Orthodontics Field. The Red Tornadoes trying to get a monkey off their back. Haven't been able to defeat the Spartans in about 9 years, 7 matchups over the last 9 years or so. Red Tornadoes haven't been able to become victorious, to come out victorious, I should say. And, you know, find themselves in a nice position with again, 5.5 minutes is a lot of time. It's only 2 scores, so the Red Tornadoes certainly can't afford to, you know, rest on their laurels. But being up 15 with 5.5 to go is a lot better than being down 15 with 5.5 to go.
Yeah, I think all the pressure is firmly on the Spartan sideline right now. But you are absolutely right. The Red Tornadoes, they need to make sure that they continue to play at the highest level possible. No getting lackadaisical, no doing anything wrong. You also have the Spartans in a tough position, 3rd and 10 right now as well. And you know they've got to throw the ball. So this is a good situation for the Red Tornadoes to be in, and you don't want that to change. And Diaz is up and being helped off the field, which is always good news.
Yeah.
You know, he's being helped off the field, but he is moving under his own power.
And I'm looking at score stream, Dan, because we've been tracking Berwick and Southern, and that says the game's in the 4th quarter, but I also see some comments from fans saying they've just started the 2nd half, and those comments are only from a minute or 2 ago. So I have to keep tabs on that one.
That is a good question, Jim. Very good question.
But for now, it's 3rd and 10. They're going to hand it off to Tenari, trying to catch the Red Tornadoes off guard. It'll end up being a good play call. It'll get near the 1st down, but still ultimately bring up 4th and a long 1.
Yeah, Tenari runs very tough. He's not the biggest guy, but he has like a low center of gravity, and he's able to kind of bounce off of tacklers. He does a really good job running tough. So this is a big stop here for the Big Red, and a huge play for the Spartans.
They give it to Tenari off the right side, and they'll have the 1st down. Nice tough run there in the Red Tornado territory. And Dan, if you saw that, the Red Tornadoes, while they don't want to let the drive continue, they're okay with that.
Yeah, you're okay giving up the 1st down. You don't want to give up a touchdown at this point. And make them earn it.
And you saw Coach Darrow was kind of waving his defensive backs off the line of scrimmage before that play to make sure. And there's Dean. And he'll lunge. He won't make it out of bounds. The clock will stop for a 1st down with 4:49 left, but it'll start back up once the ball's put back in play.
Yeah, the Spartans are in their hurry-up offense. They're right back up on the ball. So as soon as that clock is wound, they're ready to go.
And again, it's that same look. And this time, Farinado tried to get there.
And they're gonna throw a flag here, an unfortunate flag.
And that's a tough one. They're going to get the flag on the Red Tornado defender that was coming back to Dean to make a play. But the problem is the Red Tornado defender they're calling it on had no way of knowing Dean didn't have the football.
And there was no whistle. I didn't hear a whistle. The ball was still in the air, and there was no whistle. So this is going to be a half the distance to the goal penalty. It's going to stop the clock. It's going to give the Spartans ample time to get a play in and get ready to go. And it's really at an inopportune time for the Red Tornadoes, but it is a missed call.
Both teams at this point, I think, need to be careful as well at this juncture, largely because And there still seems to be some.
I was going to say, is there going to be some sort of a are they going to fix this because of some oversight from others? You know, that's the upside of being an official. You can go to your other officials and say, did you see this? Was there a whistle blown? All this other stuff. Sometimes they don't like to do that, but it wouldn't be a bad thing.
All right, they're walking it off.
And they're taking it, looked like from the 30-yard line, so they're going to put this at the 15.
But I think the point I was making, though, is Minalda's getting really comfortable with this quick seam to Dean.
Yeah.
And so both teams got to be alert. Minalda's got to make sure those D-backs aren't lurking, and the Red Tornadoes got to make sure that they don't switch anything up. And there he's got Stanakis, and it's good. Touchdown, Spartans. Minaldas gets up slowly. He took a shot from Nestico, but nevertheless delivered a beautiful ball, and it's 25-16 Red Tornadoes with 4:33 left.
Yeah, he did throw a great pass there, and like you said, Stanakis kind of found a way. I don't know if it was a double move, if a defender fell down, but he was all by himself on that other side of the field, and Minalda did a really good job, put just the right amount of air underneath the ball and got it there.
And the Spartans opt to kick the extra point here.
It's a big extra point.
It's up, and it is good. And so that'll keep the one-score game in play now, 25-17 Red Tornadoes.
And now, Jim, with 4:33 left, if you're Coach Wally Hall, what are you doing here? Are you kicking it deep, or are you kicking the onside?
I think you got to kick it deep.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of time. Both teams have all their timeouts. You do not want to give the Red Tornadoes a short field to work with.
No, I think, again, the Red Tornadoes have 25 points. You know, they scored 4 touchdowns tonight. But I think if you're Coach Hall, you challenge your defense and you say, get me the ball back.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Coach Dara, just to be leery, will send the hands team out and then hopefully have a couple guys back just prepared for any sort of a pooch kick, something along those lines.
Now, can I ask, are you saying that because you see the hands team out there?
No.
Okay.
Because it's not the hands team, Jim. This is the kick return team.
Just double checking with you.
All right.
Sounded very confident for a second there.
But get up on that 50-yard line. There we go. I can't tell you how many times we've seen that happen. We saw it happen last year, I think.
Stellar did it to a few teams last year.
Yeah. Yeah, Stellar was really good at it. He would keep an eye on things.
And the Red Tornadoes are going to take a timeout. Did not appear ready for that kickoff.
Yeah, looks like another miscommunication there.
And again, these things happen week 1.
Yeah, special teams especially. I remember playing Coach Chicatano when before the extra point was kicked. If we scored a touchdown, if you weren't out there on the extra point and on the kickoff team or kick return team, he would have his hand in the air saying kick return team or hands team, getting everybody ready to go. So that way you have the entire extra point plus the little break to be ready to go.
Again, worth noting here, it's just approaching 10 p.m. So we kicked off 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
And this is not a this game hasn't gone into overtime.
No.
We're still here with 4 minutes and 33 seconds left in regulation.
And I think this was the problem, Jim. They are set up to kick an onside kick, and the hands team was not out there.
Now we've got a timeout from the Spartans.
Okay.
I think when the schedule came out this year, we kind of knew we were in for a treat week 1.
Yeah, this game was circled for a lot of people, not just us, Jim.
And for a lot of reasons, I think. And you could tell, you know, even despite this extremely late start, or I should say late finish, and the rain and the lightning and everything else, still many fans on hand here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it seemed like there were a good few that cleared out with the lightning. but everybody that had a chance to migrate back made it back. Because you know that when North Schuylkill and Mount Carmel meet up, there's usually some dramatics that go on, especially towards the end of the game.
Now the Red Tornadoes appear ready, like you said, with that hands team on the front line. It looks like so we've got Belichick and Blessing and Bailey and Matt Belichick, Schultz, and is that Michael, or excuse me, is that Chase on the far side? I can't tell if that's a 1 or a 7.
I believe that's a 1, and Farinato right in the middle, right smack in the middle of that. But that second line is key here, and where Zarski lines up. And now they're going to kick it deep. They are going to kick it deep, Jim.
Yep, it'll go to Zarski's going to try to get there. Oh, but it goes out of bounds.
That is huge. That is huge for the Big Red, and not what you wanted if you're a Spartan.
Yeah, that's a tough break.
I understand trying to kick it away and maybe get a chance to get down there and recover that ball, but that's a tough break. That's a bad bounce there for the Spartans. And again, the Red Tornadoes are going to start in great field position here with 4.5 minutes to go. 2 or 3 first downs, and they seal the deal for this one.
I think more often than not, tonight when a ball's been kicked and it's hit the turf, it's gone left or right as opposed to, kind of north or south.
Yeah.
Certainly the case there. So the Red Tornadoes come out again. They're going to come out in their heavy package. It'll be Blessing in the backfield with Spears. 4:33. And Blessing's going to be hit immediately. White, Dean, among others on the tackle. No gain.
Yeah, and you see this is a tough spot for the Big Red, because this is where the Spartans can stack the line. They've got 9, 10 guys in the box. It's unconventional, but a throw here to open things up, or just a speed sweep to one of these guys. Get somebody on the outside that has a little bit of speed. That could be all the difference for sealing this game.
You mentioned it earlier, Dan. You wonder what Diaz's availability is at the moment. And they send Blessing in motion. Spears driven backwards, maybe a yard, but not much more. And the Spartans are going to take a timeout now here, Dan.
Yep, and this is the thing playing against North Schuylkill that you've got to deal with. Is Coach Wally Hall he's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah,
a very long time. He knows, okay, if we get a good stop on first down, let's hold our water and wait to call a timeout till we get a third down. He's only got 2 timeouts to play with. He's going to figure this out. And now the Big Red in a third and long, they need a play. They need a play here, because if not, you're going to be sending out the punt team.
Punt team that's been under duress.
Yes.
The 2 times they've punted tonight.
Yes, under duress a lot. So they are going to open things up, it looks like, which is what they're going to have to do if they want any sort of success.
Schultz and Verano to the wide side of the field. Farinato to the short. Belichick in motion. And Spears keeps it and is drilled. That's number 50, Stephen Davis, on the stop. Spears lost 3 yards on that one. And the Red Tornadoes are going to have to punt and rely on their defense to lock this one up.
Yes, this is a stout defense. This defense can hold up against any offense that is put in front of them. It is late, and the Spartans, spectacularly after this lightning delay, have seized the momentum. So we're going to need a good punt from Yagodinsky, and then a great defensive stand from this defense to keep this game right where it is.
You know, from a punt return standpoint, typically you have different returns, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what all Coach Darren and company have in the bag here for punting, but if you have a max protect, it might not be a terrible idea to call that one.
Yeah, this is a situation where I'd be sliding my wing guys in and keeping everybody tight, as many people in there to block for Jagodinski as possible.
And it looks like Zarski's the only gunner. So we've got a flag, a false start against the Red Tornadoes, and that's unfortunate. It looked like Jagodinski was going to have a clean pocket to punt there.
Yes, it did, absolutely. And now they're going to make a change here on the punt team. Actually, the punt team may have been down a man there, which is the penalty is actually kind of fortunate at this point.
Well, there wasn't
one less person to rush.
There wasn't a gunner on the other side, and I was under the impression they'd just taken it. And Jagodinski's punt's sky high, but it's short. And now that's going to take a little bit better bounce, and it's going to roll and roll. It'll get all the way down to the 41-yard line, and the clock will stop with 3:19 left. So we've got an eternity left in this one, folks. Don't blink.
Yeah, because this, and that's the difference. I mean, we've seen this North Schuylkill offense score fast, and we've seen them put together drives. They've got time to do both at this point. If they score fast, the silver lining for the Red Tornadoes at this point is that you're up by 8. You're up by 8. The best that the Spartans can do at this point is tie the game if they are able to put the drive together and put points on the board. But I know everybody in a white jersey out there wants to stop.
Ronaldo to Tenari. Ronaldo keeping himself, and he's dragged down by Nestico after a gain of a yard.
And that's a great play by Nestico. He did a really good job. It looked like he got cut on that play because, I mean, really, what are you going to do with a kid that big? He got cut block, and he was able to fight off and make a tackle.
Ronaldo to throw now, and he's looking for Dean again. The ball was tipped at the line, but it still made its way to Dean. So another completion there, short of the first down by about 2 yards. It'll be 3rd and 2.
And the clock's still running.
And it's Tenari. It's Minalda. And it's a first down Spartans.
And that was very much aided by number 79, the big boy, Robbie Wheats for North Schuylkill. You saw him grab a hold of Minalda and pull him along.
Now, again, a lot of time left, but to note the Spartans are out of timeouts at this point. Minalda to throw, and he's looking for McGee, and he's got him. Oh, McGee just overran the ball a little bit there. He got behind the defender. The ball will fall to the turf, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and that's a tough one there for McGee. Minalda got the ball out there to him, but unfortunately it seemed like McGee was working his way inside as that ball was going over his outside shoulder, and he wasn't able to find it.
The ball hung up there like a pop fly. That was enough for...
Yeah, I don't know if you heard it there. I just inhaled finally. I was holding my breath on that one. You got a Red Tornado timeout, it's looking like, Jim.
That'll be their second of the half. 2:23 left. The Red Tornadoes clinging to an 8-point lead, 25-17. 2nd and 10 for the Spartans at the 44th tonight's WKMC TV broadcast, live from Gauche Orthodontic Field at Spartans Stadium. And Ashland is brought thanks to the sponsorship of the Medalis family.
Yes,
and has been all we could really ask for in an opening night tilt.
Absolutely, Jim. It is, like you said, it is after 10 p.m. We've got over 2 minutes left on the clock, and I think this is going to be a long 2 minutes and 23 seconds. And if this game were to go to overtime, it would only be fitting.
Where else would you rather be on a Friday night than watching football in Pennsylvania?
That's right. That is right. But for the Red Tornadoes, they want to be on the bus on the way home in 2 minutes and 23 seconds, I'll tell you that.
And the Red Tornadoes are going to jump. So 2nd and 10 is going to become a 2nd and 5. You're going to give the Spartans 5 yards without a single second taken off the clock. Now you notice the Red Tornadoes are swapping out some of their linemen for additional linebackers, D-backs, whatever you want to call them. Minalda's going to throw. And again, he's looking for McGee, and it's intercepted by Farinato. It's Verano, excuse me. All the way down the right sideline.
Jim, that's
Coach
Belichick.
Oh, my goodness.
That is Chase Belichick.
I couldn't see the number. Belichick. And there's a flag on the field. We'll hope it's just on the return.
The flag is well ahead of where the interception occurred, so this should be, if anything, on the return. That is a humongous play on that pass.
And we just talked about it, Dan. The ball to McGee, the play before, hung up in the air.
Yes.
And that one hung up as well and gave Belichick the chance to come across the field and make a play on it.
Yes, that gave Belichick all the time in the world to get there, and he pretty much caught it just like a punt.
What a play
They are going
by
to take
Chase Belichick.
They are going to take the Big Red back. I'm not sure what the call was. I didn't see it, but either way, it is Big Red ball with just over 2 minutes left.
2:12, and again, the Spartans do not have any timeouts remaining.
This is, I think we got to run 1 or 2 offensive plays before the victory formation, Jim, but we'll see.
And it's Blessing off the right side, and a little more success there than on the previous couple drives. Give them 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, and I think with a first down here would definitely be able to put the Big Red in the victory formation, let Spears kneel on the ball, and that would be it. So ball security is paramount for the Big Red right now. But there is no rush. Spears just bringing the play in at 10 seconds on the play clock.
It'll be, and the play clock just reset. Now that's going to be complicated for Spears because I don't believe that was supposed to happen. He'll keep it himself off that left side and dive forward. It's going to bring up 3rd and short. And the next time the Red Tornadoes snap the ball, it'll be under a minute left.
Yeah, and this is another. Now this is a big 3rd down play here because if they get a stop on 3rd down, there will not be much time left, but I believe the Red Tornadoes will have to call their timeout and send the punt team out. They'll have to put the ball in the air, I believe. But maybe not. we will see.
Defensively, you got a huge play from Belichick. Can you get a big play on offense?
The 2 big plays of this game were the Bailey interception and the Belichick interception, were the big momentum shifters.
And it's Spears off the right side, and he's going to be very close to that first down. If it's a first down, this one's over.
Yes, it is a first down, Jim. I think they just signaled first down. Yep.
And the Red Tornadoes, there's 30 seconds on the clock. The ball is set. And we're waiting here for the play clock. And the Red Tornadoes are not going to have to run a play if they don't want to.
Yeah, they will not have to run a play.
25 on the play clock, 23 on the game clock. And my goodness, that got interesting.
Yes, it did, Jim. And you know what? You have to feel like there's a little bit of a sigh of relief from not only the Red Tornado Nation, but from Coach Dara as well. He's finally gotten over that hump. Since he came to Mount Carmel as the head coach, he hasn't been able to beat his former employer, and now he's finally got to be able to check that box.
And we can say it officially now as they're all zeros on the clock. The Red Tornadoes have come to Ashland and defeated the Spartans, the 2-time reigning District 11 Class 3A champs, 25-17 on a hot, wet, kind of lightning-filled night here at Goshen Orthodontics Field in Spartan Stadium.
And that lightning, Jim, was not the only thing that was electric tonight. This entire stadium was off the wall. The fans, the atmosphere. It's great to be back. Happy to have high school football back here in northeastern Pennsylvania, and very happy to get the first victory on the board for the Big Red.
What a night. And I think there's obviously, it's Mount Carmel's a small town. It's a small area.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about this Red Tornado team, about these kids that have been through the program for 4 years,
Yep.
that have had success, that have been knocking on the door of even greater things. And when you saw this North Schuylkill game week 1, there's the part of you that said, well, if they're going to do those other things, it's got to start here.
Right.
And I think we saw everything we could ask for and more out of this team, which was for them to be resilient.
Yes.
For them to, be mentally tough and persevere when a lot of things, worked against them.
Yeah, and Jim, being able to go home for week 2, 1-0, is a huge confidence booster, especially going into a game against not really a more unknown opponent. I can't tell you the last time the Red Tornadoes have played against Dunmore, and going home against them next week, not really knowing what to expect, how their team travels, all that other stuff that affects the game and the atmosphere in the stadium. It is a lot easier to do that already in the win column.
Dan, you mentioned that the Red Tornadoes next week are at home versus Dunmore. The Spartans, for their season, will travel to Blue Mountain. So we'll see what the season brings. Again, certainly the Spartans will be formidable again for just about everybody they encounter. Much in the same way the Red Tornadoes were able to bounce back from losses to the Spartans to make district championship games. I'm sure the Spartans will do the same as the season goes on. But I will say, Dan, it is late. We've been here quite a while. We've got a terrific team that supports us from the TV standpoint to make sure this broadcast gets out. So we don't want to keep them too much longer. But do want to thank, again, the Medalis family one last time for their sponsorship tonight. But I think it's probably about time to wrap this up. So I'm Jim Lesko.
And I'm Dan Lesko.
And for Jose Gonzalo, we want to thank you for spending your Friday night with us. And hopefully you choose to do the same again next week when the Red Tornadoes are at home versus Dunmore. Thank you and good night.